How would you like to make your first million? And today we have with us Islam Elgarhi, which is the founder of Monestay. So tell us, Islam, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm glad to be here and I'm very honored to be on this show. So, the 5 steps I think to make your first million are not too difficult or too out of the world. It's some simple stuff that you just need to implement. So the first one is to have a clear plan. Some people decide, hey, I want to be a millionaire tomorrow. How are you going to get there? What are you going to do? I'm going to start a business. What business are you going to start, right? So you need to have a very, very detailed plan that has actionable steps, like step one, step two. What am I going to do? What happens if this happens? So just a plan. Step two is you need to match that plan with action, right? You need to start. You just have to start. And a very good example of of something like this is my most successful business to date now is my Airbnb business. And I created that business out of a thought that I had. I had an empty space in my basement, and I was like, what if I Airbnb it? Long story short, I just threw on Airbnb with no preparation, no nothing. And then from that moment, it sparked this idea and domino effect that led to where I'm at now. We have over 30 listings within less than 2 years, and it started from just listing it. I had no idea what I was doing. So just starting is very, very powerful. Another thing I think we can benefit from too is building relationships. And when we build relationships, you have to build relationships in a way where we're not just taking from people like, hey, what do you think of this? Or can you give me your thoughts on this? Or can you help me with this? Offer your help as well. Offer something that you can help these people with. So that way they feel like they're not taken advantage of, or they feel like they're not just there to benefit you and they can also benefit. So building that win-win relationship will be very, very beneficial and powerful in building these relationships. And the last two is something I try to apply to not only business, but to the rest of my career life and my other aspects of life. It's automation and delegation where needed. So one of the most important elements of our life and currencies of our life is not money, it's our time. So we need to buy back our time with the use of delegating and automation. So that's one important thing. And last and most importantly is the use of AI. We're in a new era now, and if you're not using AI, then you're falling behind, and you're falling behind in an exponential rate.
Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. And there is something curious about this broadcast on Unstoppable 5 Step How to Make Your First Million is that 105, 106 entrepreneurs that attend to this podcast, they are property entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes people can make the assumption that make money in property is easy because, wow, we see a lot of property people coming to Harry's show. So, is that really that simple to become a multimillionaire doing property, or we only hear the sound of those ones that win, and we never hear the fact that so many people are showing to this podcast? That doesn't mean that a lot of people also fail, right?
Yeah, so that's a very, very good question, Harry. And like you said, it does seem easy. And it's not that it's not easy and it's not that it's hard. It is a lot of these people are some of the smartest people in the world don't own property, right? And some of the dumbest people in the world own a lot of property, right? And it's just a matter of action again, right? So buying your first home and will allow you to grow in ways that are unimaginable. For instance, if you're at work and you're making 100K a year, right? The next year you're making 110, 120. You get a bonus, right? You get an increase, a 10 or 20% increase. Now imagine everyone's biggest expense is rent or their living expense. And say they're paying $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month. You times that by 12 months, you're at 24K. If that's at 2,000 plus all other expenses, say you're paying 30K a month of living situation. Just by buying your first house, you gave yourself a 30K a month raise, right? Because now you're not paying 30K a month to
100%.
as rent, right? You're paying that into either your equity or to a mortgage. And that 30K is the bare minimum. Because now what if you're cash flowing, right? Say you're cash flowing another 10K a year. So you just gave yourself a 40% raise of on 100K salary. So
100%.
everyone's, I need to work hard and get an increase in my salary. I have to do all this stuff. You can create that increase. You don't have to wait for it every year, right? So now you're not spending 40K a year. You're making 10K a year and you're building 30K a year in equity. I mean, it's definitely a lot more complicated by that, but it's just a good example to think of why it happens. And a lot of the real estate guys, like you say, they start off in real estate, but I'm sure that's not their only business, right? They have other things and they're able to fund those through their real estate lifestyle.
100%. You know, my first business was real estate. Yeah, we managed to sell 5 million. We were. It's pretty similar to Airbnb. What we did, the name was rent to rent. So we were renting the properties, fixing them up, and renting back again in units. Yeah, and it was extremely successful. The reason why I started this is because when I arrived to London, yeah, I'm based in London. When I arrived to London, I was working as a waiter. Yeah, is what you do over there when your English not good. Yeah. So, and what happened was like this. One day, looking at my bill, and I'm like, wow, I'm spending more than I was making, and rent is 60%. So if I don't remove this from my salary, if I don't deal with this overhead, this is not gonna work. It's the biggest overhead, and that was the main reason why I started this property business. Now a lot has evolved. Yeah, even when I started, Airbnb was not there. I don't think that it was the earliest of internet. You know, it was around 2007. So a lot have changed, and today have changed a lot the way that we do property. Also, definitely was no AI. And you're right in one thing. You know what I learned about property has been the foundation. You know, for all the businesses that I opened, I have from restaurants to English academy. So I used to own an English school without speaking English.
That's amazing.
A lot of crazy things.
English school without speaking English. That is amazing.
Yeah, a lot of crazy things I have done. But I'm very grateful to property. Property was
listen, Harry. Also, you said like you started English school without learning English. You just started it. You just did it, right? You didn't wait for it to anyone else. They would wait. I need to master English. Have to get a PhD in English, and then I'm gonna start teaching. Harry said, "No, I'm gonna go. You know, I just do it. See what happens."
And I have British teachers, all of them working for me. And my English, and I'm still learning English myself. And the people were asking me, how come you're crazy? How come you have an English school if you don't speak English? I was telling them, I don't need to speak. I just need to find people who does. That's how it works. So, but then, like I said, I'm very grateful to property because it was my first business. It did really, really well. And that was the foundation that let me, I had to learn a lot during the way when I started to do different businesses. And one of the things that I realized when I had different businesses is the property business was actually really, really good. Was by far one of the best businesses that I have. I have an event company, international event company. We do workshops and training all over the world to help businesses to grow. So we do conference in Singapore, Dubai, Mexico, Peru, and of course a lot in United Kingdom. We do corporate training. However, like I said, property, it was one of the most successful business. But also, if you check every wealthy people that come to this very podcast, I already interviewed over 500 millionaires. Most of them, regardless that they do other things, they also have property, right? So, what message do you have, Islam, to the entrepreneurs out there that they have other businesses, okay, and they don't understand sometimes the risk that is involved in the business? So, for example, people are having a business and they're taking all the money that they're making in the business, putting it back on the business, making all the money in the business, putting it back on the business, where a more
Diversified
wise
approach.
idea should be make money in the business, take this money, buy a property, and the money that you get from the rest of the property, you put it back in the business. In case that business doesn't work, you still have
Of course,
the asset. So,
of
what
course.
message do you have for those entrepreneurs doing other businesses that still don't understand this part of the question, which is fundamental, which is mitigate your risk and buy some assets, and one of the most safety assets in the world is property. What do you think?
That's a great question, and you answered your own question, right? So it's you need to diversify, right? You can't put all your eggs in one basket. And some people can't tie their head around leaving their own business to going into a separate business. But one good tip I have for you guys is, for example, if you're a restaurant and all you know is restaurant and you don't want to get into real estate, the least you can do is buy your restaurant. Don't rent it. Buy the property that you're operating in. At least now it's not too far away from what you're doing, right? You're going to be
Mm-hmm.
saving your own money by not you're paying
100%.
yourself rent, right? You don't want to get into real estate, but this is your entry, right? This is your foot in the door, right? If you're very scared about going into another industry and you're very happy with what you're in and you don't want to diversify, the least you could do, the bare minimum, is don't rent. Don't rent. Buy your own office, buy your own restaurant, buy your own car wash, whatever business you're in, buy the property. And then from there you'll see it by itself. You'll see the tax benefits, the appreciation results. The opportunities are endless.
Great tip.
And another thing, sorry, one other thing is with property ownership comes power, right? Your tax dollars, if you look at a tax map in a city, for instance, say there's a city that includes 50% Americans, 25% Hispanics, and 10% Middle Easterns. And out of that, demographics, 25% Latinos own 75% of the property, right? Who are these politicians going to try to please? Who are they going to want to make happy, right? The people who are paying the most tax dollars, right? So by owning property, you kind of give your ethnic group some more power, some more leverage, some more say
100%.
in the city, So if don't think about yourself, think about your family, your aunts, like your group, your community. Buy property for them.
100%. 100%. And then now there is one thing that that have been something that I want to point out is that this is a great tip, because if the entrepreneur can actually experience by themselves from very, very close that the benefit of real estate, yeah, as soon as they see the appreciation, as soon as they see, if they own the restaurant, now they removing a lot of overhead from the restaurant, and they can use this money for marketing. They can use this money to open another restaurant. They can use this money to do everything. But you know what? They already bought it. What that means, if one day this business doesn't work, they can even rent it more expensive, and they can make a decent income, and it doesn't depend anymore for the restaurant, or let's say they retired. They retired, want to sell the restaurant. Hey, you know what? Whoever is coming new, we pay you rent all your life. That's amazing. We can listen from you.
Yeah, of
Now,
course.
the other thing, Islam, is like, for example, in your business, one thing is to say, hey, I have a room in the basement. Let me put it in Airbnb and let's see how it goes. Play the different ball game is to run an Airbnb business because the business that they are very intense in operation. I know because it was pretty similar than my one. When you have large volume,
Yeah.
it's a big operation going on. It's very profitable, but the
A lot of
operation
headaches, a lot of work.
is intense. Especially when we had it, I remember we have 24/7. We have two builders all the time around the properties. We managed to take like 28 properties, like and they were rented by unit, so it was very very intense. Literally every day something happened, right? So we have
Yeah,
people
yeah,
cleaning the properties, we have people doing repairs and maintenance on those properties, people were paying rent, so we had to check the accounts and pay bills and so on. So an AI was not there.
yeah.
So, do you think that AI has been a big part of your business to actually create the operation more effective and make you more productive against your competition?
Of course, of course. So, not just AI, you have to, you know, integrate AI with some sort of automation tools, right? So it's more of the automation that helped me grow. AI is helping me expand and generate creative ideas, right? So when it comes to automation, for example, like something as simple as automating messages, right, for your guests. Prior to AI and automation, people would send a message or a message template. Hey, here's your check-in
Welcome.
information. Hey, I hope everything's going well. Hey, here's how to check out. I haven't sent a message in, I think, 2 years. I haven't sent one message in 2 years, right? A human hasn't sent one message in 2 years for our company. Like it's and every now and then we have to intervene, and there's some stuff that the AI and the automation doesn't catch. But when we're messaging over 1,000 guests a month, right? Where
Wow,
how are we going to communicate with all those guys like without the
100%.
use of computers, right? I'd have to hire a whole team for it, right? We have a team, but I don't want to use. God gave us a brain to think, not to sit there and do mundane tasks over and over again, like a factory, right? Hi, hi, hi. We need to also use our brains to do some stuff. So it allowed us. What it really allowed us to do is save time and use that time to grow, right? Because there's no way to grow unless you can sit down in a quiet place and think, what are my problems? What am I going to do about them? How are we going to grow? And how are you going to think if you're busy answering messages, right? And that's just one example. There's 1,000 other ways we've used it, but that's the most basic one. And most of the people now that are involved in property management use automated messages. It's nothing new. So that's just like a simple example, but we use it for almost everything in the business.
Wow, that's fantastic, and I want to congratulate you for that because the a lot of people are saying, well, AI is taking jobs away from people. This is not fair. But I think that as entrepreneur, right? If we don't embrace AI in our own businesses, um, what could happen is it's not gonna be business at all. It's not gonna be job for
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
because the competition is actually using it. So how we need to look at AI, and this is what is important, Islam, is that everybody realize that the people that will stay in the game, the people that will find jobs, are those ones that knows how to use this AI tool to be more productive. Because this is the type of individuals that companies will be looking for. Companies still they need the people, but they need
Yeah,
a more productive and efficient people.
yeah,
So if they know how to learn that. I did that to my employees. I said, listen, guys, you have to embrace and learn AI. It's not because
Yeah.
of Harry. It's because, if you don't do it, I will keep you obsolete myself. So let's yeah. So we all gonna be obsolete, including me. So we have
Yeah.
to if we are in business, this is how it's gonna be. So we all have to start to embrace and research and to seek
Yeah.
um how these tools can actually benefit. We're taking a step forward. We're creating a AI solution for our own businesses. So
Yeah.
we have our
Yeah.
own softwares that
That's actually what I'm doing now. We create softwares. We create custom softwares for my businesses and for other people's businesses because I moved my living area. I'm in the Middle East for the last 6 months. So I'm
wow.
creating a software. We have a software web app and web development company here. So we have very very skilled labor in Egypt. So I do all of my technical hard web app, web development work, all that stuff in Egypt because the cost is a little bit cheaper as well as the skills are a little bit higher here. The level
Good
of
idea. Good idea.
yeah,
It's
yeah, it's very
amazing
good.
weather
Yeah.
there, yeah?
Yeah.
It's
It's
very,
actually pretty
very good
cold right
idea
now.
to run away from the
Look,
winter to be in Egypt,
I'm
yeah?
I swear, look, I'm actually pretty cold. I'm wearing my jacket. It's very
Yeah, yeah,
cold.
yeah. I've been in a Sharm el-Sheikh there.
Ah,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you're a tourist over here,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, 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 yeah. And Cairo and so on. So I've been there. I know how beautiful it is
Yeah,
and
I'm
how
in
amazing
Cairo
is
right
the
now.
weather. Yeah, great idea. So again, to having what gave you the idea or the course do you learn? Did you open any book? Do you learn from a friend? How you decide to become an entrepreneur? Yeah, because like I said, one thing is to rent your
Yeah,
own basement and make
yeah,
a little extra money.
yeah,
Completely different ball game.
yeah,
And say, oh, look, I'm gonna turn this into a business. I'm gonna start to look for property. I'm gonna start to manage those property, and I'm gonna build a business out of this, an Airbnb business out of this.
yeah.
So what happened? Do you read the book? Do you have a friend? What made you to build the business?
So, getting into entrepreneurship itself was just ingrained in me as a kid. My father always told us that having like a 9 to 5 job won't really, it's not the worst thing in the world, but
Wow.
you'll never become rich, right? You won't become financially independent. It'll be very good. You'll be in a safe spot. You'll have your health care, your insurance, all of that stuff, but it'll never pull you out of that middle class. So we always knew that we wanted to do something. And Airbnb wasn't my first business, right? My first ever business was staffing. I had a staffing agency that we work with venues and stadiums to bring them workers, right? People who need work. We connect them with people who need workers, and we bridge that gap, and we make our margin on those guys, right? Then
Wow.
after that was the Airbnb, and then the car rental, and now this web app, a web development company, and so it's ingrained in us as children. My father always explained to us it's not bad. It's very good to have a 9 to 5, but
Was your
you just
dad an
have to be okay with
entrepreneur?
yeah. He was he was a
Wow.
very successful one to his
Really?
standards because when he came here, uh, his first job was to deliver food on foot. He was a delivery walker, I guess, on in New York City, and then he
Yeah, New York is
ended up
like
driving.
London. You can actually walk,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You don't need a
Then
car.
he ended up driving a yellow cab for a little bit, and then he started. He was just like a black car driver, like those town cars. And then from there, he started his own driving company, like regular, like before Uber. You have your book of
Wow.
clients, stuff like that. And then he was
Yeah, we
never
have those
massively
companies in
successful.
London. We have companies in
Yeah.
London like that they were on several cars and they were doing like their own minicab company. Yeah,
Yes.
and some of them
Exactly.
there is actually one
Yes.
of the biggest company in London that was doing this. Uber came and they kept the infrastructure on, and what they do now is delivering packages. You know what I mean? See, a competitor can,
Yeah.
but the company pivots very
Huh?
quickly because they do have
Boom.
infrastructure. They have cars, they have drivers, they have everything. So they start to do
Yeah.
packaging. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, okay. So, and I think this is great. This is amazing. Like, for example, my parents were teachers, so they're teachers. So everything that I hear in my house was go to university and find a job. This is gonna
Yeah.
be this is the way of doing it. So that's the conversation happening in my house, of course. And that's the conversation happening in all my family, right?
Hmm.
All my cousins went to university. Everybody studied,
Yeah.
and but then you go and you start to live your life, and you see, I left Spain. I'm coming to London, and I'm back to zero. I'm a waiter. I'm like, what? I got a degree in chemical engineer. I'm working here as a waiter in London. So the university didn't help me that much. Actually, I never exercised my chemical engineering degree in my life. Went to university, and
Oh man.
I mean, never exercises, but keep my parents happy though. So we will do whatever it takes to keep our parents happy. But I think that was a big progress in your life. Yeah, you should be grateful for your dad for this.
Thank you so much, Harry.
That you were hearing him number one like that. You see. So what was his opinion when you told him I'm gonna do my own business? Yeah. It was
We
concern. It
were,
was overprotective, or
I
he tell
think,
you go for it.
no, he helped us because it was me and my brother starting a staffing agency, and my brother was like 15 and I was like 17. So
Wow,
it's not
that
like we had
young.
full jobs. Yeah, we didn't have full-time jobs, so we had nothing to lose. He set up the LLC for us, and he said, "Go, just do whatever you
So
want.
what
There's
daddy
nothing to
said?
lose."
Daddy said, guys, why you don't wait a little bit more? You are too young, things like that,
No,
or
he
what he
said,
said?
"Go." He said, "Go." No, he said, "Go,"
Really?
and he said, "Yeah, go and do whatever you want, and
I support
we'll
you.
go from there. And if you need any help, let me know." And he supported us our entire life until now. He supports us.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, I think this is brilliant, because entrepreneurs, I think, we are very red percent of the population. And if you see the whole extent of the population, we are like lonely wolf, yeah. And it's very hard to find. When I started my first business, I went out with my friends, and everybody talking about different things, and then I'm talking about my business. Nobody cares about what I'm talking about. So
Yeah,
soon I
yeah,
realized that, it seems that I need to change
yeah.
plans.
They don't understand, right? Like, hey, Harry, let's
Nobody
go get
understands, and
food.
nobody cares either.
No, let's go on vacation, Harry. No, I don't want to go. They think you hate them or something.
Exactly. They say that they don't care. They don't want to hear about it. They change the conversation quickly. So I say, oh, this is what's about to happen. I'm about to lose all my friends. I need to find new friends. And again, in the family also the same thing, because nobody's an entrepreneur. Some people think, well, this is this is no good. You should find a job. How you gonna get paid for this? Still, my mom doesn't understand my event company. This thing makes money. She's always, I don't understand how you speak in front of a lot of people. You make money out of this. So my mom still doesn't understand some of the thing that
Yeah,
that I do. Right. So it's really really good to have in the family at least a role model, to follow a role model, to encourage you. Yeah, I said, you know what, go for it. I'll help you, even if you need this help.
yeah,
The have that support. I think it's really really important, because
of
when
course.
you know how it is building a business. Uh, in that process is a process, we always say here, it's a skill set. The more you practice, the better you become. It's like swimming or driving a car.
Yeah,
So the the more you practice, the better you become. So and this is what is the life of the entrepreneurs, right? So is developing this skill, and the process of developing this skill, a lot of failing goes on the way, and it's important to have some support when you are developing this skill when time goes by. So what is your last message, Lam, for our entrepreneurs out there? We believe that all our listeners, all the entrepreneurs, we want them to be happy, wealthy, and healthy. So what last message do you have for them, and how can they find you, and how the process work if they need some help and support?
Okay, that's a very good question, Harry. So one final piece of advice. Again, I gave you guys 5. All 5 of them are very important, but the most important thing to do is to start. You have to turn your ideas into action. You cannot sit there and just think. For the ideas are nothing if they're not if they're in your brain, or there's thousands of good ideas, but only a few successful companies, right? So you need to really just go out there and start. Even if you don't know nothing, you will learn on the way, and you'll figure that on the way. And now with the use of AI and automation and ChatGPT, you can learn anything. You can learn anything very fast. So that's one thing. And if you want to find me, you can find me at islam@modernstaynj.com, or you can find me at islam@misolutions.ai. You can look me up, Islam Elgarhi, on LinkedIn. I'm there. You can always book a consulting call on Islam through my email, or you can look it up at modernstayconsulting.com. You'll find us there as well. And if you need any software help or anything as well, you could always feel free to shoot me a message. I answer all my messages on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, everything. So it's pretty easy to find me. So just shoot me an email, and if you need any help, I'm more than willing to help you guys. And again, thank you so much, Harry, for the opportunity to be here. And I learned a lot just from our brief conversation, and I hope you're the best.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for joining the broadcast. And for all of you listening, or follow us in the social media. See you in our next episode of Unstoppable. How brave entrepreneur like Islam break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with the world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.